Almost. Good morning, guys. That was like a good 8 seconds.
Yeah, we almost got there.
I am not Roth Cornett. Roth Cornett is on assignment. I am poor man's Roth Cornett, Joe Starr. I'm your host today. I'm here with Lon Harris. And we're here with two good friends of ours, Jake Weisman and Matt Ingebretson. Hey, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up?
We're having a lot of stuff lately.
Yeah, just some things going on. Matt and Jake are the creators.
Sounds like you're talking to your doctor.
Yeah.
We're having a lot of stuff lately.
Okay, when did this stuff get started?
Yeah, hang on. Let's just talk about your stuff for a second.
Yeah.
When I was born, I was really upset. And now I'm here.
Yeah.
But in between...
Oh, yeah, we made a
here.
show called
Check out-
Corporate
Yeah.
on Comedy Central tonight at 10 p.m.
It
It's a
airs
very
Wednesdays
good comedy.
at 10 p.m. It's a dark, nihilistic comedy about working in a corporation.
It's very funny, and you can also find it at cc.com. And
Jake
we
does
love
not
making
seem
comedy, and
Jake
life
d-
is meaningless.
Jake does not seem convinced of anything he's saying right now.
Well, it was really good talking to you guys.
Yeah,
We'll see you later.
Yeah.
We're going to get into Corporate a bunch, but first I need to talk to you guys about Cloverfield and Pacific Rim.
You need to talk
We
to us.
need
We
to.
brought you in
Otherwise,
specifically
experts.
to talk about Pacific Rim.
The experts. Okay, first story of the day. Netflix may acquire the third Cloverfield movie. It was rumored originally to be called
God Particle.
God Particle, which
The
is
God Particle.
yeah,
an impressive one.
which is it sounds like a book that you read in college, and you're like, "This is the best book I've ever read." And then you
Richard Dawkins' God,
God
Particle
Particle.
changed my whole outlook.
it was going to be either called God Particle or Cloverfield Station. The idea was to turn this movie into a part of the Cloverfield series.
Which we should note, that's what they always do. Like the second Cloverfield movie, I think it was called Valencia when it was a script, and it was just this bunker thriller. And then they were like, oh, let's call it 10 Cloverfield Lane. So this is like the next version.
It should be Pacific Rim: The Squeak Wall.
I would yes.
I would see that movie.
I would absolutely. Okay, so let's.
Yes.
Okay, so guys, Cloverfield, Netflix maybe. That's really
Well, it's been
all-
long delayed, and now they're like, well, they're gonna just give it to Netflix. Maybe, not sure if that means it's like they don't have confidence in it, or they just think people are gonna see it. It's gonna get overlooked in theaters.
Right. So
One
this,
of those.
This is kind of them beefing up. They acquired the international rights for Annihilation. So this
Right.
is kind of, I guess, this is Netflix cowering in the shadow that is going to be this weird Disney Fox deal. Everybody's just armoring up as best they can
It's
before
also just
we're all
Netflix has
squashed.
these crazy deep pockets that anytime anybody now has a thing they don't like or believe in, they're like, you guys want it? Netflix is like,
Fine.
we'll pick it up.
Fine.
whatever."
If you don't think you can make movies, or you don't think you can accomplish your dreams, look at all the horrible movies on Netflix
Yes.
and realize that literally anyone can be a filmmaker.
Well, Netflix is because before streaming was a thing, you'd see all those on a weird shelf at Blockbuster.
That's
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
And now they've all gone to Netflix. God bless their souls.
That's right.
Yeah, like all those direct-to-VOD Bruce Willis movies. Who would watch
What
those?
I'm sort of confused though about with Netflix getting action movies is the whole point of an action movie is to see it in the theater.
Yeah.
Right,
Because
it's the sound is so essential to
Right.
it. It's supposed to look good and big
Yeah.
and feel like it's a thing because it's a dumb movie.
So you don't
Yeah.
have your own home theater system, is what you're telling me.
No.
Jake.
You should be ashamed.
Did you get a
of
better
yourself.
deal than me?
I have so much more money than you, and I spend it all on a home theater
You
system.
guys are on basic cable now, so it's
Yeah.
time to hook
Yeah,
up
it's
the
time to-
8.1
yeah,
that's
surround
right.
40.
Which one of
and
you
home.
does make more money on corporate?
Oh yeah, good question.
I think we make the exact same amount
Just
of money.
equal
We're in the
partners.
same deal.
So can you guys split a sound bar for when you want to watch Die Hard?
Yeah,
on
we're
Netflix?
gonna go to Best Buy and just cut it down the middle, and we'll share it,
Solid.
but we'll split it back and forth. I
Yeah.
get weekends, he gets weekdays.
Yeah. No, I like
Sonos
that.
is making some good deals. They're doing some great things in financing.
Yeah, and I mean, go to Best Buy. You're gonna get a solid real deal because those guys don't get commissioned, man.
Do you
So
work
they're
for
not lying
Best
to you.
Buy?
I did in college.
This show is sponsored by Best Buy. We should
Yeah.
maybe mention.
Thank you, Best Buy.
I rip off shirt, blue
Welcome
polo.
back to Best Buy.
Let's talk about Pac Rim 2: The Squeakle for a second, because that's what it's called forever now. Before the show started airing, guys, if you haven't watched the trailer, I think we have a link in the description or something. Go watch the Pacific Rim trailer after you watch this show.
Yeah, don't stop
That's right,
this
right in
show
there.
afterwards.
Click on their Twitter handles, follow them.
The
Guys,
trailer's gonna be up here.
look. Lon,
Yeah.
we'll start with Lon, who I
Sure.
think was sort of a Pacific Rim fan.
I like the first Pacific Rim. Sure. I mean, it's like what Jake was saying. You want to see it on a huge screen because it's stupid, but it looks great. It's very pretty.
So when they first announced a Pacific Rim sequel, excited versus
I'll go see another movie where these big robots fight the big monsters. Sure, that sounds fun.
Yeah, I like Robot Punch Monster.
I'm in. And I mean, I like that they're not going for this like photo real. Like they're making the second one more cartoonish, more silly. We were talking about the weirdness of the ages not making any sense. I think.
Yes, Charlie Day's gotten younger.
Charlie Day looks like he got LASIK, but otherwise he looks exactly the same for the first movie. But now we're being told Idris Elba has a son who is now John Boyega, which is like he didn't even.
He's got to be 25 because there's a shot in the trailer where he rented a jet ski.
These people are so hot.
They are very beautiful robot fighting people.
Why do you look like that? They're freaks.
Nobody
looks like that.
They only bring in people to pilot these Jaegers who are beautiful. You have to have really high cheekbones to work the Jaeger.
Jesus Christ.
Jake, you did not see the first Pacific Rim.
No, I was super busy.
Yeah, you had things to do, but you just watched the Pac Rim 2 trailer with us. Will you tell me what the first Pacific Rim was about based on the trailer for the sequel?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bunch of cucks are going up against a bunch of robots, and they end up making out, and then
the monsters and the robots.
It's a lot of sex, and then in the end, Boss Baby comes and is like, pay attention to me.
Yeah.
That is kind of like, I'm going to say that's like 85% of the movie.
It looks pretty fun. I mean, I think that, big action movies, I think anytime we made a show, but we didn't have that kind of money. So I do appreciate that they made the movie.
It's fun
I think it's impressive to take a lot of money and make something. It's hard to do.
It's fun to watch Hollywood burn money. And that is like
it's
a lot
so
of these
nihilistic.
Movies.
Yeah. I like the nihilism of it.
My girlfriend gets upset.
He has a girlfriend.
I have a girlfriend.
Okay, we get it. You got a girlfriend.
But she gets furious thinking about what else could have been done with this money.
Who cares?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. The world was going to burn anyway.
But I wouldn't get to see the robot with the electrical whip. Come on.
The reason Pac Rim didn't, like, I kind of like it a lot more than, say, like Michael Bay's Transformers is that it feels like a guy honestly really wanted to make this, like, sweet movie since he was a kid about, like, for whatever reason, this was his fun passion project. And it feels a little less, like, cynical.
I think that was my impression too. I saw the first one and it felt like more of a genuine artifact of this type of movie.
Yeah. I just want to see a movie about the cleanup crew. I want to see like the documentary about cleaning up the city after these monsters terrorize
That's the thing they don't talk about with these monsters is that they create jobs for hardworking Americans to rebuild the cities.
I mean, in the first movie, they are building a wall, America's economy in action.
That's right, yeah.
Well, we were talking before the show started, whenever there's a sequel to like a world-ending movie, why does the world still look kind of okay?
Right, they're able to rebuild things so quickly. It's amazing.
Whereas every day in America, there's like, we haven't rebuilt any of our bridges since the 40s. And in this movie, it's like, we'll replace
It's sort of like when you're a kid and you just destroy something and the next day, it's clean. You don't realize your parents cleaned it up. Like, it really is. Like, you're like a boy. You know what I mean? You're just like, no, it's fine.
It's fine.
I'm spoiled.
More robots. I don't know. I like John Boyega.
I like that you keep calling it Pac Rim.
At first I was like, what movie are we
You got to get in the know. That's what you're calling in the know.
I haven't been calling this movie Pac Rim.
What would be a better, shorter title for Pacific Rim 2 if you wanted to sound like you were really in the know for this movie?
Pacific Rim Job, and it's just the monsters.
It's about the cleanup crew. The Pacific Rim Job is the guys who come in after and pick up all the monsters.
Yeah, and they say that as much as possible and like look directly into the camera. Just like,
life's a real rim job.
But look, I like the first one. In this one, there's a robot that had 2 swords, and then it turned it into one sword.
There's a scene in the trailer where there's 2 robots fighting, which does seem to violate the entire logic of the series. Like,
they're turning it on its head.
All of this energy. It takes humanity like $1 trillion and like 10 years to build one of these things in the world of Pacific Rim. We're just going to use them to fight each other. I mean, it's realistic now that I say it out loud. Like, that's exactly what we would do. We would start fighting.
Yeah, the movie's more just about the need to destroy something beautiful.
Yes.
So that's really awesome. One day I'm going to destroy Matt because he's too pretty.
He is.
And
Jake
that's sort
will
of how I
kill
feel.
Yeah,
I'll kill you.
That is the end of the show.
Actually,
that's going to be our
This is
final.
going to be an amazing clip. if that ever happens. Like this is going to be on every documentary about it after.
Yes.
Like, well, they knew it. They said it on
And easily
Screen Junkie show.
Easily on our best of.
Yeah, that's right.
That moment.
That's what I'm looking for.
I want to talk to you guys about corporate because it's. Hey, you guys are in that.
Yeah, that's
Wait,
us.
you're
Yeah.
in that.
You guys worked on that show.
You guys are those guys from that show.
I kind of want to talk about sort of how you take this from what if we did a show about an office to you can watch the 3rd episode tonight at 10. We
right.
have 4 minutes.
Okay. To describe that process?
The
Yeah,
entire
to just
journey.
really crank through this because we have a lot of viewers that are getting into stand-up or making their own stuff and.
Well, I think that Jake and I bonded early on over being workaholics, and we ended up living together for a little while, and then that just exacerbated the workaholics. We just worked constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, also on a practical level, we met doing stand-up, and we did stand-up constantly in LA. We met you doing stand-up, and then we also made videos on the weekends. So we've been making YouTube videos for 5 to 7 years or something like that.
Yeah,
so
with women.
Yeah, with women, and also just Matt on his own, and we did stuff together as well outside of the sketch with women. But we just made stuff every weekend. We didn't have nearly as much fun as other people partying. We just worked really hard, and then we got a chance. You get on a network radar.
I was through stand-up had gotten named one of Comedy Central's comics to watch, which put me on their radar. Not to brag, but you should watch me.
You were watched.
All right, you should watch you, and you have a girlfriend. We get it. Jeez,
2 matches on belt.
Yes. And I'd written a pilot that somebody saw and liked that was called, it was like a concept pilot called Marry, Fuck, Kill, where a guy played the game.
We got one.
He said a bad word.
Oh, shit, that's right.
And then another bad word.
Oh, well, whatever. You guys are all adults, or you're not, and it doesn't matter anyway. But it was about a guy who played Marry F. Kill, who...
Wait, F? I thought it was a different title.
Yeah, no, it's Marry...
Because you said a different
I
word.
misspoke the first time.
Oh, okay.
Marry F. Kill, where he chose to marry Gwyneth Paltrow, F. Brad Pitt, and kill Guy Fieri, and then he woke up in that reality one morning where he was
where he had done those
where
things.
he was doing those things and was trying to murder Guy Fieri. And so we got attention that way, and then we pitched the show to them, and then it's been 3 years since we initially pitched.
Yeah,
the show.
and you have to do a lot of work in comedy if you want to do comedy. If you want to perform and write, you have to do a lot of work just doing a lot of free shows. And then eventually you'll get a chance to get a manager, an agent, and then all that is to get a chance to pitch the show, and then you have to write the show and then get the show made and all that stuff. So it's a lot. It's just you constantly level up.
Yeah.
So how'd you guys go from F, Marry, Kill to corporate? Was that like they kind of bounced that back like, this is great, but...
Yes, they liked that, and I think it showed that at least they had written scripts as well, knew how to write a half-hour script. And but that was never a show that I was planning on pitching to sell as a series. It was sort of just a fun concept pilot I wrote. And but we had initially been talking about... We always our philosophy was to just do stuff and not ask permission and just wait for people to find out about it later, or like...
If something's good, it'll get seen.
Yeah, we didn't want to wait to be cast in the next NBC sitcom. We just wanted to start making stuff. So we had come up with some sketches that we were planning to shoot under the title of Corporate. And while that was happening, we got a chance to pitch the show to Comedy Central. And we actually pitched it to them as a sketch show, kind of like Portlandia inside of a corporation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they don't really want to do many sketch shows, so they were like, can you make this a narrative using the same tone and some of the same characters? And so we just did
and
that,
we just had we have a dark tone. A lot of the sketches we made online were very dark. We had a point of view, and they knew that we had a dark point of view, and we just always thought there should be a show set in the workplace that was way more honest about what it felt like to work in an office, as opposed to just sort of goofy and giddy with a silly boss.
Hijinks.
Yeah.
So we just came with a strong point of view after years of making things, and we got a chance, and then it has become a thing.
Yeah.
Well, what I like... Oh, go ahead, Lon.
I was just going to say about the dark point of view is really interesting, because you hear that and you think, well, there's so many things that have been sort of cynical about office work. You've seen, like, Office Space is a touch point a lot of people have. But then you see this, and it really is a different sort of approach and a different style. It doesn't, like, because even Office Space, you guys have a thing about cake parties in the office, and they have a bit about cake, but it feels like this is, in the trenches, this almost like, like existential approach to the idea of corporate work, whereas that's more like kind of a gentle parody.
Yeah, and I think we just our show looks like a David Fincher movie, but it's a comedy.
Right.
And so we just really believe that comedy is often best done if it's a drama that's silly. Yeah. And that's what we're trying to do, is like when you're at work, you feel like you're in a drama, but it's also hilariously existential. And so that's what we're trying to create.
Yeah. Like when you're in a crappy day job, like it's never hilarious like day of, but then like if you survive, then 3 years later, you're like, I remember that lady.
Yeah, that's right. It was like a harrowing experience that you went through that is on a cosmic level funny, and we wanted to explore that in the show.
Yeah, either funny or you collapse under
that's
your own rage.
But even that's funny. I mean, it's all funny.
Yeah. I did want to ask about Lance Reddick, who is really funny in the show.
Oh yeah.
When you guys were, he plays Christian DeVille, who's sort of the CEO of the corporation where you work.
Yes.
No spoilers. When you were conceiving of that character, was he always front of mind? And if not, like, what were you thinking? Like, the actor who plays Christian DeVille needs to have X.
I think we wanted it to be someone who we essentially think of the character as like the demon of capitalism, and so we wanted someone who is larger than life and just he's like the most intense performer of all time, and so there have been a lot of like CEO characters in the past, like Alec Baldwin is someone, but we liked the intensity and sort of no holds barredness of his performance.
I think that, you know, again, we're making a drama that's silly. And what's better for a drama than to get the best dramatic actors and give them really silly shit to say? You know what I mean? Like, people forget that Airplane had Leslie Nielsen, who was a dramatic actor. And they gave him really silly things to say, and it works because he's saying it so straight. And Lance is a wildly talented person. And in college, he actually did a lot of comedies, but then he got typecast as a cop in like The Wire and Fringe and Lost and in Bosch, and he really is a silly person. He has just can bring such an intensity to, and we're making a satire, so you always want intensity in a satire, because then it really makes the jokes land.
Well, it was funny you brought up like the Alec Baldwin sort of CEO, because like his entrance is pretty much an ABC Always Be Closing kind of like big entrance speech with some amazing lines that are silly, but it's this like what was it, like, I never joke about hurricanes.
That's what got us into this mess. Yeah. I mean, one thing, I think our pilot was good and our script was good, and the best thing we ever did was trick great actors like Lance Reddick and Ann Dudek and Adam Lustig into doing it. We got like Juilliard trained actors to make the dumbest show ever, and that's the coup that we pulled off.
Well, the cool thing we're sort of talking about, sort of finding your point of view and finding your style, is for me, is someone who knows you guys and has worked with you guys. The first shot is you just dead in the eyes pouring coffee into a dying plant, and I was like, oh, this is Matt and Jake's show. This is 100%. I mean, Jake, we've worked together a little more, so that point of view has just always been 100% you to me as long as I've known you. Like, how long has it sort of taken to sort of find that voice, I guess?
Well, I mean, I think one of the reasons we're friends is we do comedy and we like lightness and silliness, but we definitely see a darkness. Like, I can't see, like, when I'm looking at you guys, I'm thinking about how you're gonna die. Like, I'm not like happy, you know.
Most people who look at me are like,
bad guy
coming soon, and
are you okay? We need to get you to a hospital.
We're in a pre-diabetes situation.
I mean, I just have depression, and I'm trying to make the best of it. And I also think everyone's depressed, and I get upset when people are happy because they're wrong. So I've just always felt that way, and I've always felt that comedy was the catharsis for depression. And I think comedy isn't necessarily escapism. I mean, it can be, and I know Pacific Rim is escapism, but I think comedy is best when you feel it, and you feel like, oh my God, someone knows my struggle too. You can laugh about it.
What are some comedies that speak to you guys then? Shows, movies?
Dr. Strangelove.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of what we're trying. You know, Network we kind of think of as a comedy to some degree. I mean, Nathan For You is like the best show ever. That has nothing to do with our show, but I think
but still kind of bleak and
but we like satirical, dark things.
We also liked, I mean, a show that again is I don't think anything like what we did, but Eastbound and Down, where they sort of went for it filmmaking wise a little more and it felt a little more like it was using the language of film versus a lot of
we have 3 cameras set up and let's riff.
That's right.
Very few comedies make films. You know, like which is very confusing because comedy is all about timing. And so it's very much takes place in the editing. And if you make things look good and then say silly stuff, that's the most incredible comedy there is. And we just are coming at it from a filmmaking perspective. We love the Coen brothers. We love Paul Thomas Anderson.
Sure.
We're trying to make a show that uses cinematic properties like that, and I think we did, and that's what we're trying to do, is make like movies but in a TV show.
Yeah, I think our favorite stuff are typically dramas or stuff that exists a little in between a comedy and a drama, like yeah, a lot of Coen Brothers.
A Serious Man, you know,
Yeah.
where it's like dark, but it's like hilarious too. Like that's the most beautiful things you can make, I think.
Yeah, well, it's like
Besides Pac Rim 2, the squeakquel.
yeah, the sequel, which is also, I believe, going to walk a very fine line between drama and comedy.
Was made by the Coen brothers.
That's right.
Yeah,
You wouldn't have thought.
Very strange.
Joel
Yeah.
and Ethan's fingerprints all over.
Yeah, it feels much more like Burn After Reading than the first Pacific Rim.
Yes,
Yes.
that's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Much closer.
Yeah, get great actors to say silly stuff. That's what you got to do.
So let me do standard junket morning show questions. We've all had bad jobs, you guys. You stop. You stop. Are there like stories that have kind of come directly from day jobs that you guys have dealt with as comics that are?
Yeah, there's actually the episode that's going to air tonight at 10 p.m. on Comedy Central that you should watch. Both the main storylines that Jake and I are going through came from real life stuff. One is that I used to take a nap in my car in the parking garage at lunch, and I got caught one time doing that, and my boss was mad at me about that. And the story we tell tonight sort of spirals from there. Jake had actual back surgery.
Yeah, I had spine surgery.
And that plays into the episode
And I got
tonight.
a lot of pain pills because of that. And then people I dated, people I thought were friends, would just sort of ask me how I was doing, but it was just to get the pain pills.
It turns out everyone is addicted to pain
Yeah,
pills.
so the whole opioid addiction is real, and that's what there's an episode tonight about it. Yeah,
Dealing with some real issues. Really tackling them
but it's
head on.
funny.
kinda
It
down
is
them.
funny. I promise.
Well, I like the characters are interesting because Matt is sort of, I don't know, sort of the put upon, just sort of trying to deal with it, whereas your character kind of relishes in how awful all of this is. Like, I don't quite have a read on him yet, which is kind of fun.
Well, I mean, I don't know how you feel about your character. My character, you know, sort of gave up on his hope very young because he was like a punk rocker, and he wanted to, like, he really wanted to follow his artistic dreams, but then realized that the system is not set up for that. So he just decided, oh, life is meaningless, my dreams are pointless, so I'm just going to try to make as much money as possible and try to climb the ladder.
It came a little bit out of a feeling of, as an adult, or if you aspire to be creative in any way, you hit a point in your life where you're like, I still have to make money at some point doing it, and it then becomes very hard to do that unless you luck out in just the right way. And I think his character is someone who abandoned his art and just focused on making money.
Yeah, I think the idea, like, this term sellout is very immature because you don't exist in the capitalist world if you use that word. It's like, no, you're buying in. You know what I mean? Like, you have to make money if you want to be an artist. The capitalist system is rigged, and that's fine.
Yeah, I didn't want to work for a management company that ran retirement homes while also doing stand-up.
While what, like
hence-
making pottery?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah, and I think my character is just kind of lost and a little naive. It's who I was when I think I was 22 and didn't know who I was at all.
Yeah.
And the way that you try to, like, his character, like, tried to define himself by, like, having cool music taste or, like, you know, making craft beer and stuff like that. But that's what every silly white guy is doing. And he has like a desperate attempt to be an individual.
And
but
yes,
it's kind
we
of
are cucks. Go to hell. We're cucks.
soy boys.
We're soy boys.
And I'm Jewish, so
Full-on.
don't say anything about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will.
Now,
They
now,
absolutely
now
will.
it's coming. Now. You've done it now.
You asked for it. You rolled out. You rolled out
Yeah,
that
no.
fun internet carpet. But so I guess, you know, obviously you guys came in, make stuff. You guys have one of the strongest work ethics out of anybody I know. So I don't know. Aside from that, advice for people that are kind of launching themselves in creatively.
I think find people who can do things you can't. Pat Bishop, the guy we created it with, is and who directed every episode, is someone that we had a shared sensibility with, but was able to add a technical capability that we just did not have, and was able to make the things that we wanted to make look and feel a lot better. And so try to find people who can fill in the, like, knowledge gaps that you're missing.
And also, I would say, and this is a little cliche, but I really mean it, it's like one thing that doing stand-up really teaches you is you need to fail 1,000 times before you even have a clue what you're doing. Do not be afraid to fail. The people who succeed are the people who aren't afraid to fail. There are geniuses out there who are just doing what they must, but most people who succeed aren't that talented. They just kept working.
Yeah.
And it's
and I think it's like relish in the frustration of what you're doing.
Yeah, just keep doing it and don't give up until you get it, and wait to have a family until you get the job. You know what I mean? You have to like you have to hold off on a lot of like fun things that people will get out of college because they took corporate jobs, but just do it. Like, life is a nightmare, so you might as well just do what you want to do, and it just takes a little longer.
Yeah.
It's a more inspiring segment than I thought.
Yeah, we're doing this.
With the creators of corporate.
We're really doing this.
Yeah.
We have a couple audience questions for you, and also, Billy, did I skip the story that is the thumbnail of the show?
No, you're good.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure that
We didn't skip anything, Joe. What are you talking about?
Right. Yeah. So we've got a couple of audience questions. At Darthus Knight, wanted to talk to you guys about hecklers. How do you deal with them? What are your favorite heckler story? Is always a weird term.
I'm taking a new tactic with hecklers recently, which is to be nice to them. I used to just attack them and which is Jake's tactic.
Yeah.
I'm trying to invite them into my fold a little bit and do that. The worst experience I had with a heckler where I didn't do that was I was at the West Side Comedy Theater and I was in the green room, and the whole show, every comic came back and was like, there's this drunk woman in the front row. She's terrible. She's like ruining the whole show. And so I was like, well, I hate this person already. So I went out on stage, and within moments of me speaking, like I hadn't even gotten out a full sentence, she was like, "Ah!" and just shouted at me. And I like bent down and was like, you're a bleeping nightmare. And expecting the whole audience to go along with me.
You said bleeping.
I said bleeping, which confused everybody.
Yeah, that's why they. Yeah,
I said you're an effing nightmare, expecting the whole audience to be on my side. It silenced everybody. Everyone was deeply upset that I shouted in this woman's face, and I spent the rest of my set apologizing to her and everyone else. It was an awful experience.
On a practical advice, if you do stand up, one of the things you can do with a heckler is repeat what they said, because that gives you time to think. Yeah. So if they said something dumb, say it out loud so the whole audience can hear it, and that'll get you on their side. And the thing about hecklers is they're dumb people. Yeah. So you are if you're smarter than them. You just need to be calm and understand that eventually you're going to win that. You're funny, and if you give your time to think by like repeating what they said, eventually you're going to think of something to say.
Yeah. And also that repeating even just brings the audience in on the conversation.
Exactly.
Right.
And
So
it's not as hard. You
side.
just have to be calm and remember you're smarter than them. You do comedy for a living. They're there. They paid to see you. So you can win that
and
most
Jake's
of the time.
tactic is to humiliate him.
Well, but
I
also,
was once present, by the way, when Jake in New Orleans, we did a show at a festival, and Jake was on stage, and this guy was heckling, and Jake called him onto the stage, which is actually not a very good move, because then they have a lot of power. Then Jake called this guy on the stage. They were talking. Eventually, it's hard to even describe how this happened.
I remember this.
They started pseudo wrestling with each other.
Him.
He mounted this guy. In the process of that, which was wild enough, a bag of cocaine fell out of this guy's jacket, which Jake then picked up and was like, "You have cocaine," and then the guy just
and I convinced him he was going to jail.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I got you. You're going to jail." And he's like, "No, I'm not." I'm like, "You are going to jail." And he left. So I think if you can convince the heckler they're going to jail for their crimes, you will win. I also believe, just last thing, is that if it's a man, you can emasculate them, because if men are heckling you, they're upset with the power you have over them. So try to emasculate them in some way. With women, don't say anything too horrible. But with men,
like you're a effing nightmare.
With men, they feel weakened by the fact that you're a funnier man than them. So do your best to point out that they're not really a man.
Yeah, that's what I always tell my angry older brother that doesn't believe in what I do. Man, how are we doing on time, Billy? Because I want to close. We got a couple more minutes? All right, cool. So, what was... where's the show going, you guys?
We tried to
Lay out your 8-season arc for us.
Yeah.
We don't have an 8-season arc, but what we did try to do is make episodes that stand alone, that are connected to the story in some way, but that each one feels almost like a mini movie.
There are no bullshit romantic arcs over the course of seasons.
And so I think what you can be excited about is that each episode in this season is pretty wildly different, has a very different feel, and will bring something entirely new to the conversation. It's not repetitive at all, I don't think.
One thing that I thought was really fun about the show is that it takes that kind of old sitcom tack of every episode, like, things work out by the end. Like, you're not used to that because now we're in this, like, Netflix binge the whole season. Everything ends on, like, maybe it'll work out.
Yes.
And you guys have done a very specific job of, like, presenting the crisis and then resolving it by the third act.
We try to think of each episode as like,
but it doesn't work out for people.
I don't mean work out like and everything's happy. I mean like work out like the situation resolves itself.
Yes.
Yeah, the company wins.
Every episode has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Correct.
Yeah, we're trying to think of each episode as like a mini movie that's a cosmic joke.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I dig that. We're featuring a lot of really funny LA comedians.
So
too,
many
which
people
is
from the LA
something really
comedians.
cool that you guys have done.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of talented people in LA that haven't been exposed yet, and also too many comedies just recycle the same people over and over. So when you're watching, you just are thinking of the person, not the actual character.
Yeah.
We're trying to bring new people to the fold that are talented, and you have no
Context for
preconceptions
who
of
they
who
are.
they are.
Yeah, Matt McCarthy's so funny in the first episode as the guy that loves company parties for cake.
That's right.
And tonight we have Amy Mann on the show, and Megan Keister, and a lot of other LA comedians.
Ron Lynch.
We have a lot of great people. It's honestly a very good show.
Let's real quick. Let's just go ahead. Let's get into this. Roll up the sleeves. Best food in an office meeting.
Bagels.
Bagels.
It's not even close.
100% bagels.
I ate a bagel right when I got here.
We had 3 SJU
It wasn't
bagels.
good, but I ate it. Yeah.
Okay, so our Defy Media day-old bagels specifically.
I think so. I think bagels.
Bagels are incredible food.
I like Starburst too, but my teeth are now falling out. If I eat a Starburst, I can
feel it all
feel
day.
my body
Yeah.
rotting.
Yeah, I've started to find that, if I go for the receptionist candy door, I shake for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I'm also one of those people that's so annoying that, like, if there's a donut, I'll take 1/4 of it. Like, I am that jerk who's like, why is there 3/4 of a donut here? I'm like, I don't know.
Well, guys, before we get into our last question, which is one of my favorite audience questions we've ever gotten, I just want to let's really just land it in there when people can watch the show, where they can catch up.
Comedy Central every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Please watch it live and DVR it. Or you can also go to comedycentral.com and watch the first 4 episodes, or on the Comedy Central app, or find it however you can. We really
Just
don't
watch
care.
it.
I don't care.
We
Yeah,
just
just
love
We just
for
want
you
people to
watch
talk about it so we can keep making it for a long
Yeah,
time.
no, man, I was. It gets weird in the city sometimes where someone you know like does a thing and you kind of have that moment of like, I hope it's good so that when I see them, I'm not like,
You
way
don't
to
have to
go
lie
over
to
the
them.
thing. This is so fucking good, you guys.
Thank you very
second
much.
F-bomb for the show, and then I think we're cut off.
I said one too, so 3.
Okay. Then the show's off the air. We're no longer
Corporate will
live,
go on, we'll be
and
canceled.
Billy's fired. It's so funny.
Thank you.
Because I really enjoyed Women and the short film. There was a short film you guys did that was set at a party specifically.
Oh, yeah,
that,
What a Nice Party, yeah.
Yeah, Nice Party was hilarious, and it was just cool watching like the natural evolution.
Thank you so much.
Of those
Yeah,
has,
we
has
really
been
feel
really
really
cool.
Also, I have
lucky.
to shout out Bomb City. I still think about Bomb
Oh,
City.
you saw Bomb City.
I mean, I liked Women a lot, but Bomb City still stands out to me. I think about it all. Well, Bomb City?
I've never seen Bomb City.
It's Dave Ross from Women Stars that one. He's just like a cop in Bomb City where everything is just constantly exploding. Bombs are just constantly going off.
Yeah.
Well, guys, one of our fans on Twitter, Josh Miller, he asked, why does our existence meaningless?
I think
Great
because you don't
question.
know how to ask a question, Josh. Our existence is meaningless because it depends what you think meaning is, but you're going to die and you won't be remembered, and there really is no point. But you have to look at that positively. It's like you're going to die, so just make TV shows, have some fun.
Yeah, so eat Starburst. It's
Yeah, but
okay.
but Josh, learn how to say something. And
I know, Josh, I trust that was intentional and that you have a great sense of humor. I'm on your side,
oh,
Josh.
I love you. I mean, Josh, I love you.
Yeah.
There's
He watches the show.
There's no God, and like religion's ridiculous, and nothing matters, and everything's a lie, and Donald Trump's president. But like, there are cats, and you can make comedy, and you can watch movies.
Yeah. Which is also weirdly how I would sell corporate to someone who I was telling to watch it.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
pretty much word for word.
Yeah.
Guys, where can people find you on Twitter?
At Matt Ingebretson, that's Oh, you got it right there.
there.
Thank you
Hey.
very much. And I'm the same on Instagram. And I'm having a great time on social media.
Just cutting it up. Hashtagging away.
It's just him in front of single-colored walls.
Yeah.
I'm at Weisman Jake and on Twitter and Instagram. And Twitter's a party and Instagram's a different kind of party. But you have to go there to figure it out.
Yeah.
If you have to ask.
Yeah.
You'll never know. Guys, thank you so much for coming on. Lon.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here, man.
My pleasure.
Great show.
Thanks for hosting.
Oh, man.
A lot of pressure off me.
Yeah, whatever
This is great.
whatever it was I did, I sure did it, and
Steer
Billy
the
isn't
ship.
scowling too much, so. Oh, yeah, I got to plug things. Thank you. It's usually my job to remind the host to plug things, and
Hey,
look how I almost
plug
screwed
things.
up. Thanks, buddy.
I'm taking over.
Guys, tomorrow, Movie Fights is back with maybe the weirdest fight
It's
we've
an odd
ever had.
pairing.
It's our own Scott Mance versus our own Jenny Nicholson, which will be a weird show, and the Earth might fall into a black hole because of it. I don't even think I've seen them in the same room.
People who know their opinions about recent films will probably guess at least one movie they're going to be debating, and yeah, they are going to debate that.
Scott and Jenny are like I don't know, like a dad that doesn't understand his like hip teen daughter, and they really hate each other, and they're
This should be our first like father-daughter debate. That is
yeah,
what
and they're
it's
gonna yell at
like.
each other about movies for an hour and a half. It's gonna be super fun. Maze Runner. What am I supposed to? What is this?
Are we promoting Maze Runner?
Are we promoting Maze Runner?
Plug your honest trailer that you fucking wrote.
4. That was 4.
That's what you're plugging.
Did we write one for Maze Runner?
I didn't.
I sure did.
You may have.
Guys, next week we have an honest trailer coming out.
No, it's already done.
What?
Maze Runner is coming out.
Billy, come out here.
Christ, this is
Billy?
I apologize.
Billy,
Speak
Come here.
into the mic.
Come here. Tell me what.
Maze Runner coming
Yep.
out this weekend.
It does.
If you want to torture yourself,
Yep.
you can go see it. Or if you want to,
Oh, you
know what
can
you're
watch
getting into,
the Maze Runner honest
the trailer
trailers.
that we've already done.
Oh,
okay.
To get yourself.
You're
in the mood
promoting an
to hate it.
archive.
Now I
honest
understand that
trailer.
sentence. Thanks, buddy.
JT,
Look
just
how excited.
Put up the
Look how-
graphics.
Roll it,
We're
JT.
done.
Check
We're
out
done.
Corporate on Comedy Central tonight, 10 o'clock.
Wonderful.
Oh, that's cute.